addressed the problem of missing fathers, every problem could be dealt with if we addressed the problem of missing fathers. Think about it for a second. What is the overall impact of absent fathers on the mental health of young black boys? Should black fathers be chastised by the leadership of the sick society that produced their mentality? Fuck. True or false? Responsible fatherhood only goes so far in a world plagued by institutionalized oppression. What will happen to black marriage or black relationships without the strong image of black fatherhood in our community, or even an example of that on television, i.e. the Cosby Show, Fresh Prince, Family Matters, Good Times? What are we going to do without strong black fatherhood imagery?
Wow.
Throughout the media. First off, we got to ask the question, is the media afraid of the image of the unadulterated, unfiltered black man?
Frightened little sheeple.
Can we talk about it?
That's something you're very rarely going to see. You're not going to see that image. They don't want that image to be seen, man.
Why? Why,
because
Freeze?
That image is powerful. It's the cornerstone of the family. Mm-hmm. You understand? To me, I mean, thank God I grew up with a father. Okay, I grew up with a role model in the house. And I can also say that he was not the motherfucking image of what a strong father was at all times. He was a human being. Mm-hmm. He was bad at some time. I saw him be from physically strong to actually being barely alive in a wheelchair for years. So, I think that any type of image that is placed in front of us and said, boom, this is what a strong black male is bullshit. Because what a strong black male is what it is. Mm-hmm. It's what you have. Your father, whatever level you hit him, and that's your father.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
RZA? Let me say it this way. Number one, as it pertains to the Barack Obama thing that I just stumbled in on, it's very easy to criticize that which you yourself are not a victim of. When it comes to Barack Obama, he is an African. He is not a Negro. And therefore, he can criticize anything in America because he is not a victim of America.
Well, this is the ADOS argument.
I know.
But it's
the
real.
ADOS argument is
fact. Too.
You not Compton.
Not at all.
You not Detroit.
Not at all.
You not Flint.
Mm-mm.
You not Chattanooga. You not Culver City.
Come on.
You not Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
You not the Bronx. Nigga, you Kenya. You
simple.
So we not arguing
simple
that you not black. We saying you not a nigga.
Simple.
Right.
Simple.
That's the ADOS argument.
And that is a very valid argument. And it is okay. It doesn't take away from the good work that he did. Very little that they would allow him to do in the first place. But it takes completely away from the fact that we cannot be successful under someone who is not coming up from under the oppression that we ourselves have been so steeped into. So therefore, love the brother for the good work that he did. Whatever good work that was, he did very little because he was only allowed to do very little. But that was just for that argument. The other thing when it comes to, because I can go on all day about that. I love the brother, met him, love him for him being a black man who wants to do some good, for him a very good orator. He has a very good oratorical skill, beautiful family, no scandals. I love it, man. That was a beautiful image. And that was an image that white folks didn't like at all. They called, who was it? They called his wife. They called her a monkey. They called her the
which
Grinch.
Is disrespectful.
They called her all kind of stuff. They called him all kinds of things too. But what they couldn't say was, well, he wasn't getting sucked up in the Oval Office. His wife wasn't being, pulled over a damn table or nothing. His daughters weren't involved in no scandals. I mean,
dice games.
Come on. So to that degree, I get it right. So I can appreciate that at least for just having a beautiful black family.
Right.
At least. That was beautiful.
Yeah, I can smoke a bag of that.
Yeah, cool. But that doesn't
it
bring
seem
us freedom.
A bit contrived?
No. It's 100% contrived.
We have an issue here in America. And what it's starting to tell me is if you want to progress to the highest levels of office here in America, you can't be an American Negro.
That's the image they put.
Now, we can homogenize some Negroes from other parts of the world and put them in proximity of some real niggas, but they won't. You understand what I'm saying? Your record got to be clean to ascend to the highest of heights. I'm just saying. Freeze.
I'm going to give you an example, a great fucking example. Right now, the brother Trevor Noah, right? Biracial. He's the black and white issue. And I saw on a billboard that said, don't Green Book this guy just yet. Don't Green Book this. That means don't put him on the blacklist. Don't affiliate him with the blacks. That's what it meant to me. Now, the reason I bring him up is I'm nothing against him. I like the brother, but he's a South African. He's African and Dutch. That's a foreign black and white issue. You got a comedian Shang right here who's black. You got Freeze Love who's black and white. We could go on for days. Who can give you? You're what? I'm not mixed. Okay. Well, you can sell it.
And I was born in Kingston, Jamaica.
Another one. You see? Nigga, my people from Mississippi, man.
He said another one.
Another one. What are you, DJ Khaled?
No, I'm just saying.
And another one.
No, nothing against
We the best.
Yo, Caribbean
No, you
is a
already
whole
know. Yeah,
different.
Caribbean's a whole-
and
but
nothing against my black. I'm talking about descendants of slaves.
Yeah.
It's vital because we're talking about slavery in this country, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Not some foreign country, not this absolute country that all my people are from. Half my family benefited, half my fucking family was ran in the mud.
Right.
The ones that benefited were the white ones. The ones that were ran in the mud were the black ones. In this very country, man.
Right. But at the same time, and I agree with you, I try to look at it from the point of view that even though I think Obama said some shit, I was like, man, I'm going to smack shit at you. But I look at the imagery, even though it's contrived, sometimes people don't understand what contrived is, and they'll take it and they'll use that as an example for their lives to make their lives be better. So sometimes you got to take some of that imagery and use it to make us better, but you have to still take it back to your hood and make it better for your people.
Bobby?
I think so.
It was the 3rd of September.
Talk about it, Bobby. Shit.
That day I'll always remember, because that was the day that my daddy died. Never had a chance to see
You gonna do
him.
2 verses, nigga? Shit. Tell us your point.
That is the point.
I thought he's doing the album.
That is the point.
That is the point.
Go ahead, Bobby.
That is the point. My papa was a Rolling Stone. And the irony is, 31 years ago today, my son was born into a wedlock situation. But the damage had already been done in terms of the discovery of what a man is when he's in the household with a child and when he's not. And when you're born in a situation where you spend most of your time trying to figure out why your name is hyphenated. My name is Bobby Glanton-Smith because my mother and father didn't marry. So my task was not to put my son through that, but because the marriage didn't work out with his mother, it still left that same kind of, question mark. And the question now becomes, when do we break the cycle of these categories? Half, what do they call it, stepchildren,
We still got that now.
half, what do they call it?
Half brother and half sister.
Yeah, half brother, half. How in the hell you gonna have a half brother?
If you came out the same hole, y'all whole brothers and sisters.
It's the whole thing.
You can say that, but I done seen enough halves look more like the maternal and paternal parents than the children that came, out of that whole situation.
Right.
So, sometimes we get into these categories and we get sidetracked with the fact that the bottom line is, how do we mend those heal those wounds and put men, whether they in the household or not, in a situation where they can contribute to the well-being of their children?
But if this system is afraid of
fuck the system. We spend too much time worrying.
But listen to me, Bobby. Let me make my point. Shit, Uncle Bobby. Fuck the system. I'm just saying, it's gonna take some real balls, as the minister says, testicular fortitude, to just say, I don't give a fuck what they think, and I'm just gonna go out here and tell the truth and live my truth and write my truth and author my life, regardless of whatever the fuck this system or these people got to say. Now, a lot of people are afraid to do that, and the dynamic in the relationships that create the conditions that will cause a man to say, you know what, I'm leaving. For somebody to get hurt up in this, I'm leaving. Right? That dynamic, a lot of times, and somebody can push back on this, is pursued by the woman. Because at the end of the day, you made a baby with a man who's a boy in the system. And the resources come from the system more so than they do from him. In most cases. Now, you know, we speak in generalities. There's more resources to be had from this sick society than there are to be had from him.
Well, let me. I'm
gonna come back to you, Bobby. Then freeze.
It's kind of like this. You got to remember, the woman that did that, she was, again, this is a woman that was brought up without a father. She was kind of. It could have been a lot of times. You understand? Or the woman does what the mother guides her to do. So she's like, okay, that's how you do it, huh? Yeah, that's how you do it. Right. You understand? I mean, don't forget, the mother is the first teacher. Definitely. Everything you learn, you're going to learn from your mother first.
Yeah, but you know what? I hear what you're saying, but I feel at the same time, you know what I mean? There's a lot of and there's a lot of women that don't take responsibility for being fuck ups too. There's a lot of women that act like they don't do wrong. And what they do is, by them being the first teacher, like I know I can speak from this personally, they can put venom into that child's thought process pertaining to that man, which makes it more difficult for that man to deal with that child. So a lot of times what makes me angry about it a lot of times.
Should he stay?
Absolutely, he should bounce. He's going to have to do it from a distance. He's going to have to. You can be a father from a distance. You can definitely handle your business. Make sure that you get your rights to interact with your child. But I feel like, and there's a couple things that I do like about the system, at least dealing with that. There's a thing called Family Wizard, where you deal with the woman only through email. And if you either one of you say anything aggressive, that person breaks in and goes, you understand this is going to be on court record. And then you have to stay. You have to stay.
I have a homie on that right now.
I was on that for 3 years because it was necessary. Because I was like, I can't have a conversation with you because you keep putting venom into my son's mind, and then my son has to come to me and ask me questions like, "You're my dad. I know you're my dad because he's my clone." But at the same time, she's saying, "Make sure that he's dad."
Wow.
I'm like, no, just because we didn't work out, I'm still dad.
Exactly.
And so
no,
I'm still dad, and that's it.
Hold on.
But I had to go. I had to be from a distance.
But see, this show, and you just built on something really powerful. Then I'm gonna come right back to Bobby. This goes back to the point that I always make. We so far down the totem pole and so broken as a people that we can't be human in our household. Do you understand?
Especially
Human,
men.
meaning shut the fuck up. I just walked in the door. Now that don't mean I hate you. That means don't come in here and inundate me with a gang of bullshit. And don't act like your granddaddy didn't say that back in the day. Granddaddy walk in the house with a gang of grease on his hands. Motherfucker trying to get in the bathroom and get that lava, that gritty soap. God damn it, I'll look at the mail and the newspaper and all this other shit when I come out the restroom now. Right now, that's a criminal offense in the Me Too movement right now. That's emotional abuse. You understand? How come Big Mama understood it then, but Little Mama don't understand it today? Bobby?
Bobby, go ahead. But it's fences. It's what the scene in Fences. I don't have to like you. Don't you get food? Don't you have a roof? Aren't you safe? There's a certain point where I think young men just like, motherfucker, I'm making sure your life is comfortable by the hard work I'm doing. And give me a chance to have a moment for myself because I'm so busy giving to all of you, your mother, the children, everybody else. And then you're so spent, you don't even get a chance to have your own time. So that's why to see. Oh,
You calm down and wait till I pass it to you now. Go ahead, Bobby.
I had to get that off my chest.
Just for a point of clarity, when I say fuck the system, I was speaking from the context of what do you do when the damage has already been done? You're divorced, or you done left the house, or whatever. How do you, in a creative way, connect to a child that you have not spent that quality time with? Here's what I feel is necessary. Find a way. And it's going to take some imagination, some creativity, and mostly just persistence and consistency to get back into a position where you find a niche that connects you. And that's the wonderful thing about DNA. You don't have to be there all the time to have a child, have certain qualities that he inherently got through his birthright.
He gonna come back to you when he wants something because he was raised by his mama.
Thank you. And they come back, baby.
They come back because they want something.
No, that's not.
They need something.
That ain't.
Bobby.
That's not always true.
Bobby, we already
Listen,
said it's something.
Can I say something
Okay, now
to
you
me?
say it again.
I want to inject one thing here, because what you're saying, I feel what you're saying, to keep trying and keep putting forth the effort. Absolutely. And the one thing to me personally that I have to stand on is praying. Pray. Talk to the Creator. Talk to the Creator on these situations. Put what you want to Him. Isn't that the ultimate father?
How about that?
That's my personal thing.
Sometimes you got to just go within. Because at the end of the day, if you got somebody on the other side of the fence saying your daddy ain't shit, I have a perfect example of a woman telling a kid who just failed the 7th grade that you ain't shit just like your father. Now, nobody gonna say that's emotional abuse.
Right.
Now, I mean, I would say it's emotional abuse, but who gonna report it? And see, so what happens with this rift between toxic mama and toxic daddy is that you force that child to choose between the lesser of two levels of toxicity.
Wow.
I wouldn't say the lesser. I'd say a different.
No, man.
Nah, it's the lesser.
No.
What are you? Because you saying that,
Share
a
the mic.
woman is less toxic than a man?
No, there are. I see when people say, "Well, no, one's less." No, sometimes less. Like sometimes a motherfucker's just crazy. Well, he had issues when he was a child. No, fuck that. He's crazy. Sometimes in a situation, people say you can't say lesser. Yes, you can. It's a false equivalency. I feel like sometimes with women, we feel like, well, she's a woman on her own, and this. Fuck all that.
No.
You's a crazy ass woman. And you fucking up the relationship with me and my son because you are mad at me. This all got shit to do with. Let him be him. If he dig me, he dig me. I'm sorry. If he dig me, he dig me. Live with it. Okay? Because you want to be loved and you want to be the center of attention. And that's not always the case. You should, if you talk about we split and we 50-50 pertaining to all these finances, it's also emotional 50-50 you have to deal with. He gonna love me and he gonna love you. That's it. But he ain't gonna just love you. And there's a tendency for women just to want the child to just love them. And I'm sick of that.
Yeah.
And women don't want to take responsibility for it because they got some hole in their soul or some hole in their heart. And that's what I'm saying. It makes me frustrated sometimes, especially I can speak on this personally, is because it was time point where with my ex, I was basically, let's just be parents. I ain't got to be your buddy. I ain't got to be your friend, but I got to be there for our son. And that's it. I ain't got to worry about what the fuck color dress you wearing today because that shit's done with me and you. That shit's finished. And there's a tendency for them to, like you said, they weaponize the system. They weaponize the child. And I feel a lot of women don't want to admit you are weaponizing a child because you mad at me. Get over your own shit and keep it moving and be a parent. And they don't do that, and nobody checks them enough to say, you know what, motherfucker, you wrong. You doing wrong. No, I'm a woman, and because I'm a snowflake and I'm a butterfly, shut the fuck up. You wrong. You wrong.
Hell no wrath like a woman scorned.
Exactly.
How about it? Rizza.
First thing that we absolutely, I believe, we have to do is divorce all characteristics and behaviors that came from the Caucasian. Number one. So anything dealing with, let me see, me attacking, as you were saying, the woman attacking the man, or the woman using the child as leverage against the man. All of that comes from the Caucasian, and we don't have to debate it, but we can. But it comes also from having an absent mother, absent father, broken mother, broken father, absent grandmother, absent grandfather, broken grandmother, broken grandfather, et cetera, et cetera. It goes all the way back to slavery, where we were taught how to be broken, taught how to fear, taught how to break the child, taught how to turn the child against their parents so that they could survive longer and not be turned into a slave, not be sold to another plantation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Damn.
And we are duplicating the same shit that has been done to us by an entire group of foreign alien people on this planet. So if we don't recognize that as the source first, then all we're going to do is continue to attack the effects and not address the actual cause. If you want to address a symptom, you must find out where it came from. Then you can determine what the solvent is, what the cure, what the solution is, etc. But if I see a black woman attacking a black man, my number one question is, how were you raised? And where were you raised, and what was the conditions of that environment? What were the conditions of your home? I do this real quick, and I look and I see, okay, boom, I get it. Your father wasn't there. This happened. Okay, alcohol was involved. Okay, he couldn't get a job. Okay, boom, boom, boom. I get it. Sister, you have to get an example of an older man around you. Whether it's an uncle you trust who is a good man, an example.
Wow.
If it's a mentor of the family, a good example. We have to break these things and be accountable. Women have to be accountable because a lot of them are doing very horrific things to men. Black women in particular, I'm going to say it this way, because they are doing it, one, out of fear that something's going to happen to their child, or two, out of scorn or hatred or malice or whatever because of the man that they were with and didn't work out, etc., whatever. There's a lot of different reasons or excuses. However, the number one thing is we have to protect the children, the future of our people. We must look at our people and our nation and our God first, and stop being so selfish when it comes to one another and how we treat one another, because the system is attacking and coming after all of us to begin with.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Mansions on Dash Talk X. Talk X is the premier talk channel on Dash Radio, and Mansions is the premier conversation in this motherfucker. Woo! Wednesdays, 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We in here talking the real shit you bitch-ass niggas is afraid to speak on.
Because they, you know why? Because they too yogurty.
They're too yogurty.
They have fruit at the bottom, play yogurty type features.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Tonight,
layers of femininity mixed with yogurt.
Tonight's topic: the repercussions of so-called black male sexual irresponsibility. A deeper look at fatherlessness, side babies, and bitter baby mamas. I know it's a tough topic, but we got to get it done. One of the Dash Talk radio personalities who has a powerful show here on Dash Talk X, Tone Talks, he's in the chat room right now. He says a lot of fathers got to look in the mirror, or he says a lot of fathers got to look in the mirror and be honest if their reflection is a boy. Ooh. And you got to own it if you a baby boy trying to dip into an estranged son's life. That's tough.
Wow.
That is tough. Listen, most of the times when these women and men get together and have children, both the men and women are children in some way.
Right.
Level of maturity, level of understanding, contextual understanding about their environment, themselves, how they relate to their environment, money, having they quote unquote shit together. Most people are a fucking work in progress.
Right.
And then they start another work in progress by having a kid. But then you try to hold somebody to a fairy tale standard and a fairy tale life that you don't have no resources to manifest. You didn't have them before you had the kid. What makes you think you are deserving of those resources now that you do? Because I want my kid to have different than me. Well, you should have been spending your whole life procuring those resources instead of pulling your panties to the side. Ah, no.
Exactly.
Was that too much?
That was
It takes two to tango.
It does, but god damn it. For me, boys just be fucking around. Because they boys. We just fucking around. Till we figure out what it is, until something click and we be like, oh shit, that's what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. We just fucking around. Women are purported to be smarter than us and more mature than us, faster than us. Correct? Some type of Geiger counter that leads you away from immature manhood. Now, if it doesn't do that in all your maturity, if it doesn't do that, now we start pointing at who raised you. And now this becomes a collective catastrophe. But not in the eyes of white America. In the eyes of white America, the black man is the reason this shit is fucked up. Him alone. I got that question directly from that article. Is the black man the sole reason that the black community is at the bottom in every major statistic in America? Is it his fault? Because if you say it's his fault, I'm going to say you conditioned him to be a boy. You called him boy for years. You didn't want to see him as a man. He had to picket and petition to tell you, nah, motherfucker, I'm a man.
And then they hung that one.
Right. Okay.
Right. Beat the next one and said that down. This is all a result of this is the result they want. There's nothing to question it is just some fake shit.
See, this is what Brother Malcolm meant when he said if you throw a stone and it hits a dog, the only one that gets hit is the one that barks. See, white America, the system of white supremacy, is successful to the degree that it can put the blame on black men because we are the original man. So therefore, if I can attack you, I'm attacking the very target of my overt. I have done the worst to you, the most to you, everything to you, you and your woman, but primarily you first, because if I didn't do it to you first, then you would be able to secure yourself, protect her and the family, etc. So I had to destroy you first. So they have to make us look like we are the boogeyman because they themselves are the actual boogeyman, but they will be able to get our own people to turn against us. So that's why they came after the man, then the woman, then the child, and the entire family. So they destroy us in the home. Then after they destroy us in the home, then they can destroy us in education. Then they can destroy us in the medical field, then the law field, then the entire society. And then eventually society itself will become self-destructive. And our own environment will become self-destructive, and then that will become perpetually self-destructive as we are here today. So the main thing we have to look at is, number one, the system of white supremacy still hates black people to this day, period. If you do not understand that alone, you will never be able to get out of this condition. Number three, you have to look at accountability. Black woman, stop attacking the black man because it ain't going to get you no goddamn where. Even if you get a better job, that's not going to get you anywhere. Even if you get a higher position, that still is not going to get you as your people anywhere. Whether if you like it or not, you might get a little more money, but you won't get respect. Black man, stop attacking the black woman. Because that is only going to feed into the same system that was put there to destroy you, her, the children, and your people anyway. We are not going any goddamn where unless it is together. Period. Black man, woman, and children.
We going together.
We're going together. Exactly. Whether we're going up or down or left or right. But the point is that if we continue to fight one another and divide against one another, we ain't going nowhere. Even if we agree to disagree.
Right.
Baby, listen, I can't live with you, but let's agree to do something for the children. Okay, all right, fine. I agree to that. At least be mature. Take accountability, take responsibility, because the system of white supremacy is coming after each and every one of us. Period. And I got to keep it on that nose so that we get this. We're not going nowhere when it comes to division, but we're only going somewhere when it comes to unity.
And just to be honest, listen, man, my shit with the court stopped when me and my ex-wife as individuals got together, made our own agreement, had it stamped by an attorney, took it to the courts, all that child support shit out of here. Stopped instantly.
But that's because you guys are adults.
Exactly. But
you guys are not, chronological adults. You guys are internal adults.
What I'm saying. The quicker you can get to that level, the better off it is for your children, for your family. The quicker you can get to that. You don't need the courts.
Bobby, quick point, and then I got a caller. We got somebody on the line who's ready to drop some bombs for us. But Bobby, and then Shang.
Pragmatism is important as you deal with the children and the future of our culture. I just got a text from my ex-wife of my granddaughter's first steps. All right, and it happened on my son's birthday. Now, we've had difficulty over the years trying to just, figure out how to be, And there was times when I felt this would never happen. And the short point I want to make is sometimes, man, you just got to be steadfast in your belief.
From the store, make the house fall on you, and it's hard to come back from the house falling on you, man. And you got to understand, you made the best point that in my mind, and I was literally talking about this last night. We was on another show, and nobody was talking about the fact that the Willie Lynch syndrome is still happening right now. The fact that right now, all of the things they did by having, we want the big black buck to fight the big black buck. Even though because they knew the big black buck would mop all the other white dudes. So that's why you got to look at it from that standpoint, how they treated our women, how they systematically beat us down. So if you look at all of that and you do it now, like you said, you guys got together and talked, you have to be pragmatic, you have to stay steadfast. But sometimes you're a human being. Sometimes I have feelings. I don't want to have my son say, "Mommy told me to hate you."
Well, that's what.
But that's just
that hurts.
Shit.
I'm allowed as a man for that to hurt my feelings.
15 seconds.
15 seconds, Bobby.
Where you are, I have been there, and that's what I mean by the storm. Sometimes the storm just got to pass. Your only hope is the storm eventually passes. Where you at right now is the eye of the storm. I've been there.
What if you on Jupiter, Bobby?
Where
the storms don't stop.
Right. But
the consequences don't change.
You still have to go back to the root, and that's exactly what you said.
Don't change.
If we don't go back to the root of what is going on and what is the catalyst of what is making us like this with us, but it was taught and conditioned for us to be this way. We have to fight against that and not believe in any of this bullshit these pigmentally challenged people say.
But Shang, you pointed out something, and I'm going right to this phone call. Sorry, Antonio Moore is on the phone. You pointed out something. Freeze pointed out something. You can only teach the willing.
Absolutely.
You can only cooperate and collaborate with the willing.
Absolutely.
If you got one parent who's unwilling to deal with another parent and is content with poisoning the child, you on Jupiter. Yeah. You in the big red storm on Jupiter. That's just what it is. So a lot of times men get villainized because he recognizes, I ain't on Earth no more. We on Jupiter. Okay, cool. Fuck it then. I'm going to turn into this mountain, which means I'm always be there, but I'm going to be silent.
Right. Sometimes it takes that.
Then you get villainized for doing it. I'm here. You got my number. My number ain't changed. Call me if you need any. But we on Jupiter. Tone Talks, welcome to the show, brother. What's happening?
What up, man? Interesting conversation. Me and you talked about this earlier. I think in some ways it's interesting to hear the brothers in there talk. I noticed everybody, I'm not going to say, you got Bobby representing a certain age group, and you got the other brothers, and I'm guessing that most people's children are, above 19 in there, 20.
Yeah.
That means you raised kids when it was a lot cheaper, relatively. And, I know that now they go to college and you got to pay that part of it. But I think one of the things that's kind of being lost in this whole conversation is I don't know how many black folks can afford it anymore. And when I say it, I'm talking about one baby. And that's kind of what the system has done. So, all I do is talk about it in terms of numbers. A report comes out of UCLA says that the middle black family in LA is worth $200 liquid. $200 liquid. So, when a middle black family's worth $200 liquid, do it matter if it's the mama, the daddy, or both of them at home? versus going back to an era where 85% of the garbage men were black in L.A. in the 80s, and one garbage man could literally I think it's kind of like pulling apart like black relationship on so many levels, sister, brother, child, parent. And I think one of the things that I start to see is everybody tries to rationalize things as though this is temporary. When all the policy from Donald Trump to Obama with the things that they both did show us that this is quite permanent for our life at least. And I think for a lot of us, because we don't know that the middle black family in L.A. is worth $200 liquid, we create a rationale like it's 95. Like it's still when we were earlier. I think a lot of what has happened on the female side is this masked inside of the maleness, meaning, you know, a lot of females come into these relationships and they expect, and I said this to Zoe before, and I think on the male side, what ends up happening is that men promise too much and don't understand the system that they live in, the reality of the moment that they're in. So
take your time, Lord. Take your time. You got room. Take your time.
Yeah, I come back to the reality that if the middle black family across this country worth $1,700 without depreciating assets, Federal Reserve data. If you look at what has happened on household wealth, I said this on my show just 3 days ago. Total household wealth in like 2012 was $74 trillion. By the time we got to 2015, it was already at $88 trillion. When everybody talks about Obama, they talk about what he didn't do for black people. What they don't deal with is Obama created a new wealth class of white folks. We literally went from about 5 million millionaires to 11 million from 2012 to 2015. Now add in the fact that now from 2015 to 2019, we doubled again, jumped again. We went from 86 trillion in household wealth to 107. All these numbers sound lofty and big. Well, the problem is that that's why Disneyland prices go up. So your family, your middle family's worth $200 liquid, but Disneyland says it's $200 to get in. But you got to go to Disneyland, and people can say, well, I'm just not going to Disneyland. Well, what kind of American life is that if you can't go to Disneyland? And then the woman kind of puts that off on the man and says, well, you ain't no father if you can't send your kid to Disneyland. And I think that one of the things that's happening around us is this wealth is real. And it's not just real for black folks. Understand it's the bottom 50% of white folks dealing with it too. Not so much in LA, but nationally. Understand that I think that one of the problems with like fatherhood right now is that it's looking at the world far too flat. And when I say that, I mean we live in one of the most economically and technologically chaotic times in ever. If you think about your childhood to your adult life, we went from literally you got to answer a corded phone to talk to me to the iPhone. That's a lot of art for people to develop in. That's a lot of expectation for people to grow in. And I feel like now what's happening is all of us are kind of boys looking in the mirror. So you got to, and I said, when I made that statement, I wasn't making that statement about a specific man. I'm saying that statement about a race. So everybody's a child trying to grow up while they're trying to raise a child. And then everybody, you do it. Imagine if they told you to build a house. You went out and got the wood, the foundation, the concrete. You brought it to the place to build it, and then they said that's not enough no more. Well, that's kind of what's going on, and nobody wants to talk about it. And I guess I'm just throwing in a whole nother wrinkle that you got a lot of things going on around us that throw in purposeful monkey wrenches to keep us from being stable in the middle of one of the most unstable times in modern history. I'll leave on this note. Thomas Piketty, I said this before on Zoe's show and my own. Thomas Piketty, French economist, said that in America today, this is the most unequal modern country ever at this moment. At this moment. They say that right now, to have the American dream, you need to be in the top 20%. Top 20% is, I'm talking about 5% of black homes are worth more than $350. We know about 2.5 or 3% are worth more than that, and that's boomers. Retirees, their kids is grown. So it's so much expectation, it's so much requirement, it's so much wealth needed that you can't make it up unless you make it $700,000 a year or $600,000 a year. Everybody got to start being understanding of the cost of blackness. because it's here now in a more relevant way than the last 50 years.
Damn.
The cost of
All right, man.
Damn. Thank you. Tone Talks.
Get that off your chest, son.
Let me just.
He got that off his chest.
If y'all don't know Tone is a lawyer.
Yeah.
Educated at UCLA, and he produced, got an Emmy for "Crack in the System," a documentary he produced for Freeway Rick. He helped Freeway Rick write a book. You know, Tone his hands is in a lot of stuff, and he co-created the ADOS movement, American Descendants of Slaves. He co-created that shit right here in Studio C. At Dash Radio.
All right.
Him and Yvette Carnell. So Tone also wrote a 67-page paper that broke down the 11 things that black people think they can do that will close the wealth gap. Real estate, recycling black dollars, and him and one of the leading economists, brother by the name of Darity out of Duke, showed that what you fail to realize is generational wealth grows at a faster rate than the national GDP, us working and buying and consuming, and it grows at a faster rate. So they get rich by kicking it. You get income, so there's a difference between wealth and income. And he broke this whole thing down and really showed just how bad it is in terms of the wealth gap.
Right.
Wow.
So listening to him, I'm sitting here going, if there wasn't a system of commerce, a black man could actually be a man. Because now it turns into survival. A black man is on some Bear Grylls type shit.
Yeah.
Just get out here and catch a fucking deer. I'm gonna bring this bitch home. You better make me some socks with this nigga's belt.
Or even if we just had a barter system in a massive place.
Right. But we got niggas want to hit the like button.
Yeah, for real.
Right.
So that shit ain't gonna work.
Yeah, that's a tall tower. I agree with the brother in a lot of ways. Let's go back what he said about pretending to Obama. Obama only did as much as he was allowed to do. He did as best he can in a system that is built with white people that don't want to see black people succeed. So I do give him a pass to a point with that. But I agree that the money situation is crazy. The differential.
It's critical.
There's a difference between a brother's a rapper that makes an album and they go platinum and the motherfucker that owns mayonnaise.
Right.
Like that dude's winning. The dude that owns the code to mayonnaise, whatever the fuck you want to say.
Right.
But what I'm saying is
the mayonnaise
ingredients. The ingredients. Whoever came up with that, the motherfucker Heinz. Right. Like, so we have a lot of catching up to do. But again, I got to go back. You said it perfectly. It goes back to a white system that doesn't want to see you come together, that doesn't want to see you spend your dollars with black people, that doesn't want to see you create black businesses where you employ black people to move us forward. And sometimes there are black people, which I call they're caught in a coon cage, that have a tendency to not want to even work with other black people to build us up. So not only are we fighting white systematic racism, we're fighting black learned racism. That's why the black male is the one that gets the most shit on, because black women are learning from white men. Hey, this is who we. It is
black women. But what you're talking about is black women using white supremacy talking points.
What we are.
But I don't necessarily blame her for that, and I'll tell you why. Because that's
then you got to take it to.
But you can't explain because those same talking points goes back to the top of what this topic.
Right.
And our sisters see us the same way. Our sisters see us the same way as that goddamn women. Okay. So now we are childish because
it's some kind of holy grail sometimes. And I feel like women, when they say, I gave you some.
What's not in your consciousness?
Exactly. So ever get that out your mind unless we go together. And we're going to fucking win. It's like a basketball team. You could say you got your star player. Just feel like we're not going to win unless we're together.
RZA frees Bobby.
And this is exact cause a lot of the black men and women, white men and women in black, destroy you and to become strong and wealthy themselves. So if they use what none of you are winning collectively as a people, some black women will get a higher percentage. Hey, brother, how long will that please you? But here's the main point. It's 2019. This exists, whether they deny it or not. It exists. Everybody knows that there is something, a homosexual agenda. I'm not saying those within the LGBT community. I'm saying the actual government is pushing a warfare through movies, through television, through music, etc. They are pushing. They are pushing this. So what am I saying? If you do not at least and completely removed and obliterated as a people, we have to get out of our field. That was possibly one of the greatest displays of black power, consciousness, response system that became a system by destroying your very people. You took them out. You divorced the system. This is not for me or you. This is for our child. This is for the future. This is not about me, you no more. We have to of our people. Then things will become a little more easy, a little damage. And because of that, we can't think logically because we have so much reactivity and pain to where we
have the space to be human with each other.
Right. Which is also something that the system helps those who are damaged. Where all this stuff came from, one, this is why documentaries are needed. A lot of people heard what was said, then you would at least take it into consideration and say, you know what, I see what you...
Motherfuckers who always say, y'all do a lot of talking are the dumb niggas who don't... When you comprehend some truth, as soon as you hear it, the bell is rung.
It hits you.
You can, like a sharp-ass rock, and you walking around with it trying to ignore it. Plain. Or y'all talk too much. Listen. Institution in America that is off. Educate, feel smart, but actually be dumb. And devise a curriculum that in questioning.
John D. Rockefeller.
We have to create benchmarks.
Yeah, but black people, this sounds bad, but black people sometimes get that nigga, with your reading bitch ass.
Reading ass.
Yeah, with your
white
reading
boy.
ass intellect. So if you're acting, if you use they say a shit, they don't realize I got hands, because then it's